Thanks, Nicole. Got it.
Thanks.
An attorney for Lois Lerner has said that she will only testify under two circumstances. Either she gets immunity or she gets slapped with a federal court order. Here's my question. Why wouldn't Congress just get the court order and say, show up and talk or else? Judge Andrew Napolitano is here. So why didn't they just go and get a court order and compel her to testify? Why not?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, Stuart. It is relatively easy to do. It's far easier to get a court order to compel her to testify than to give her immunity. But giving her immunity removes her ability to invoke her Fifth Amendment privilege. She cannot reject immunity. This is not bilateral. If they give it to you, you have to accept it, and then you have to testify. That's really what they want to do. She can still invoke her Fifth Amendment privilege against incriminating herself consistent with a court order, because no court could order her to violate that. But if she is immune from prosecution, she cannot invoke the Fifth Amendment. So the question is, how serious is Congressman Issa about wanting answers, or are they just looking to score political points?
Well, what we're all trying to do, surely, is to get to the bottom of the IRS scandal. Does it extend to the Obama re-election campaign? Does it extend to the White House? Did the president use the machinery of government to go after his political opponents? That's what everyone wants to know. If Ms. Lerner were to be given immunity, would that get to the information we want?
Well, here's the way the government operates in ordinary criminal prosecutions. If it has reason to believe that somebody has orchestrated a crime, and there are many people involved in the orchestration, it wants to go somewhere up that food chain and find someone who can spill the beans, who can turn state's evidence. So if their investigators, if Congressman Issa's investigators believe that Mrs. Lerner really knows everything that went on, then they have to sacrifice their ability to prosecute her and turn her into their witness. And she will connect all of the dots for them, and she will do it in private, not under oath, meeting with their investigators, and then she'll do it publicly under oath. They're just going to have to give up the ghost on pursuing her as a defendant and take her in as one of their own.
Congressman Trey Gowdy, Republican, South Carolina, I believe he's a former prosecutor himself, and you know him. He said on Fox News earlier today, we're not giving her immunity. We have no idea what she's done. Why should we give her immunity when we don't know what we're looking for? What do you say?
Here's the way it works. When a witness is thinking about immunity, the witness engages, you're going to love this phrase, and I don't mean it critically at all. The witness engages in a procedure called, you ready for this? Queen for a day. Now, here's how the Queen for a day works. You go in with federal prosecutors, there are no tape recorders, and nobody makes any notes, and everybody agrees that what's said in that room stays in the room, and you tell them everything you know. And then they decide if they need you and they want to give you immunity. And if they decide no, they have to forget about what you told them. And if they decide yes, then they made that decision knowing what you know and how you can help them. Congressman Gowdy is familiar with this procedure. If Mrs. Lerner and her lawyers refuse to engage in the Queen for a Day procedure, then Congressman Gowdy is correct, because they are not going to give her immunity until they know what she's going to give them back in return for the immunity.
First comment in our production meeting this morning when we were discussing this offer of immunity or a court order, not an offer, but the demand, was it looks like an admission of guilt. If you're not going to open your mouth unless you've got immunity and without a court order, it looks like an admission of guilt. Now, that's
you know what?
Maybe a leap.
She doesn't care, because if she has immunity, she can't be prosecuted whether she's guilty or not, and she can't be sued.